Hey there everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we'll be discussing how you can get full marks in Economics 0455 Paper 2 Section A part of it. Now Paper 2 has Section A and Section B, and typically you should be doing Section A followed by Section B. So let's see how you can get full marks over here. Now this question, the first part or Section A, which is here, is usually going to give you a case study which you have to read and then answer an answer based on the what you have read and also based on the pre-existing knowledge that you have. Now the way you answer this question is that you have to identify that it follows a pattern. When you do enough questions, you'll know that the way you answer each and every question is very similar, and if you're able to get that pattern and follow that procedure, you can very easily write the answers and get the full marks. Now typically, or even me personally, I used to take between 30 to 35 minutes for this section. But if you're someone still in maybe grade 9 or grade 10 term 1, even if you take 45 minutes over here for now, that's fine, but try and reduce the time as much as possible, because you want to spend more time on the other parts of the paper. Now, the first question is almost always going to be calculate, whether it's PES, PED, or any other calculation that you've been taught. Or they can also base it based on what they have given you over here. It's a 1 mark question and you should be able to do it really fast. A free 1 mark, to be honest. Then it's usually an identify question again. So because it's 2 marks, you have to identify 2 reasons why and whatever the question is. Now usually this data would be based, or the answer would be based on over here, but that's not always the case. Sometimes you have to read the whole case study to really be able to answer that. Now since it's only identify, you don't have to go into explanation into too much of a depth. It should be a very short answer. Maybe it can even be a word if that's how the question is, or it could be a short phrase for the first point and then the second point. Don't do it in numbers form, just write it continuous. Then comes again another 2 mark question where it says explain the type of inflation experienced by Belarus. Now usually it will also be based on here, like that's where you'll probably get your answer from, but make sure you read the whole case study once or at least twice to have a better understanding of what the case study is talking about. Now you know that usually this will be either cost push or demand pull cost push or demand pull inflation or something like that, based on what you have read from over here. So you are able to do that very fast as well. You don't have to go a lot of in-depth into explanation, just be able to effectively explain what type of inflation is as given in the question here, or whichever question says. Then you move on to the main 4 mark questions. Over here it says explain 2 reasons why the PPC may have shifted to the left. Now over here you have to first identify your first point and explain it in a way. Then number 2, identify your point and explain it in a way. Make sure you give at least 2 reasons and don't give more than 2 reasons, because you're not going to get marks. Once the examiner sees that, okay, first point is mentioned here, second point is mentioned like this, even if you write 3, 4, 5, these are all going to be ignored. So make sure you give 2 proper reasons and they are properly answered. Then comes the question where it asks you to analyze the relationship between life expectancy and HDI value. Now many people suffer with this question, but it is one of the easiest questions that are there. Now when they ask you to analyze the relationship between this and this, you have to go back to the table over here. So you see that you have life expectancy here and then HDI value over here. Now follow this simple structure that I'll tell you. First of all, tell the type of relationship or correlation that's there between this and this. If life expectancy increases, does HDI value increases? State it over there. Is that a positive or a negative relationship? Make sure you state that. Then you give examples of how that is being so. So you can say that maybe just a random example, I haven't gone through it. When you say Belarus's life expectancy is 74.8 and HDI value is this, a higher country's life expectancy, which is 82.4, has a higher HDI value, which shows the positive relationship that's there. That already gives you 2 marks that are over there. And now one extra mark that you could get over here is why that is so. Okay, so 1 mark the type of relationship, example, and then why that is so. Now almost always each table or graph or whatever is given over there will have one or two this one exceptions to this. So there will be at least one country from here which will not follow the trend over here. Make sure that you state that country and how it doesn't follow the trend. You can say that one of the exceptions include, I haven't seen any of this, but let's randomly say, okay, Tajikistan. Okay, state that. Then you can get another mark which which you can get by explaining why that relationship could be so. So over here, though it's only 4 marks, usually it will be 5 marks as well. So take a note of that. Then comes the analyze question, where it asks you to use a demand and supply diagram and then represent whatever it says over here. Very easy. Again, this shouldn't take you more than 2 minutes, to be honest. First of all, get the relationship between these factors that they have given over here. Once you have identified that, then know which one is being affected. Is it your demand or is it your supply? And you can usually find that through the determinants or factors that affect demand and supply: his age and 2 tips at IGCSE level. You can use this and then find that, and then based on that, whether demand or supply increases or decreases, you can draw the demand and supply diagram. Over here, you have to be careful, because if they say analyze or explain using a demand and supply diagram, you have to give a small explanation after that, which will give you that extra 1 mark that's there. If you just draw a demand and supply, that will give you a maximum of 4 marks. Okay, but if they don't add analyze or explain or anything, and they just say using a demand and supply diagram, let's show how this, then just draw your demand and supply diagram, and that's all. You don't have to explain, but also note how many marks it's there, because that will usually be 4 marks and not 5 marks. That's one thing. Then comes your discuss questions, and these discuss questions, you can usually get some of your points from this region, this area that you see over here. That's why you can typically get some of the points from. Over here is where you can use your own points as well, but make sure that you use your knowledge from here and the whole case study to answer them, because that will make your answer come out more better. Okay, also note that they are just 6 marks over here, so you can have maybe 2 points on one side, 1 point on the other side, and explained. And if you have extra points, make sure to add them at the end of the paper. Once you're done with everything, just write down like the small point at the corner, and then once you're done and you have a lot of time left, come and add it over here, because that's one trick that I used, and then I was able to get pretty good marks in my final IGs. So you can do that for both these paper. And if you follow what I've told you for section A, you can very easily finish it between 30 to 35 minutes like me and get really good marks. So that's all I have for this video. I'll see you guys in the next video. If you have any video suggestion, put them in the comment, and I'll see you till then.